Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Tipoff 2021-2022. Dr. Ron Poniewasz, joined by Professor Larry Kelly. He's got a lot of things to teach us tonight in his classroom sessions, and we will let him do that in the next segment of Red Hurricane Report. Larry, welcome aboard, and good to see you again.
Always a pleasure, my brother. It's been a while since we had an opportunity to hook up. I don't know what the director of the groove ship, Mr. Sirianni, does from week to week, but I got the call for the podcast about 3 minutes ago. But I'm ready. I'm fired up and ready to go.
How about that? Short notice, and he's ready to go.
Fired up and ready to go. There's a difference.
There you go. Okay.
I'm laser focused and ready to go.
Okay. All right. Well, here we go. Athlete of the Week this week. For print edition, it was two wrestlers from Laurel High School. They are both juniors, Colin Bartley and Grant MacKay. Colin Bartley competes at 113 pounds, Grant MacKay at 160. They both won WPIAL Class 2A Wrestling Championships last weekend, and that event was held at Canon McMillan High School. Grant MacKay is a repeat winner in the district, and Colin Bartley is a one-time winner. So congratulations to those two guys. And Larry, you know, just your thoughts on winning gold. Doesn't matter what sport it is.
Oh, wow. It's outstanding. I have so much respect for wrestlers, maybe the toughest sport to compete in. When I was at Slippery Rock, you know, and I played varsity baseball up there, I was very fortunate. And, you know, we used to work hard, but nobody worked as hard as the wrestlers. When we would come back for practice, you know, and sometimes in the wintertime, you know, you might practice 8 to 10 because, you know, we had to share the indoor facilities with the basketball team and the other varsity athletic teams. I'd get back to my dorm at 10 o'clock, and the wrestlers who had been there like from 4 to 6 were putting on their sweatsuits again and getting ready to go out on about another 10-mile run. I know one thing, at Slippery Rock University, they were the toughest athletes in the entire school. I have so much respect for these guys. It's so difficult to win WPIAL gold, to have two athletes, Colin and Grant, from the same school is really outstanding. And there should also be a shout out to the head varsity wrestling coach at Laurel High School, because that person's doing a fantastic job.
And that person would be Kevin Carmichael. Agreed. He is doing a very good job there at Laurel. Grant MacKay is going to be wrestling at Pitt in a couple years, so he's already nailed that down. And that's got to be pretty big, you know, for a kid of his age, a junior, to say, you know what, that's where I'm going to go, and I'm going to get all that taken care of, out of the way, where I don't have it hanging over my head every day of, you know, this school's looking at me, that school, what am I going to do? And so he's already eliminated that by picking Pitt.
Pitt has one of the best wrestling programs in the ACC, if not nationally. So this young man is the real deal if he's going to wrestle at a Division I university like Pitt. And my hat's off to both of these young men and their coach. I have the utmost respect for wrestlers. Their dedication to the sport, what it takes to be a champion, is something special.
That could be because Jeff Capel and Kevin Stallings are not associated with the wrestling program.
I don't know, but whoever is associated is doing a fabulous job at the University of Pittsburgh.
Okay, for our basketball purposes, two performances that really stood out last week for girls basketball in the playoffs, and these games were Friday night. Danielle Pontius of Laurel, she's a junior. She had 24 points in a 61-38 win over Charleroi, and that was a home game. And Erin Capalbo, a sophomore from Mohawk, she had 21 points in a 52-20 win over Shadyside Academy. Larry, the future is great with these two programs, as these girls will be back next year. And as we sit here tonight on Tuesday, they're still alive. You know, they play Wednesday. So these two girls here are going to be, you know, the catalyst for this program this year, next year, and certainly for Mohawk beyond.
Well, this is nothing new, I guess, for both of those schools. They've had a lot of success in women's basketball the last several years, especially at Mohawk. And, to score 24 points, 21 points in a women's basketball game, and to do so when it's almost half of your team's points is a pretty special, pretty special night, and certainly worthy of being athletes of the week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. That was those 24 points is a season high for Danielle Pontius. And the Mohawk girls team has won 8 straight WPIAL playoff games. So obviously they are the the 2-time defending Class 3A champion. And boy, I tell you what, both of those teams are playing well, Larry, and that's what you have to do. Their records might not be stellar, but they're playing well at the right time, and they've played good competition, which is kind of why their record, might not be quote unquote stellar.
If that phone call's for me, tell them I'm a little busy. I'll get back to them.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, these young women had outstanding performances, and they will continue to need to do so if they're going to move forward in the WPIAL playoffs.
Yeah, the Laurel girls, real quick, they got the number 8 seed this year. A lot of expectations for the girls, and it's been a rough year. We talked about this the last time we were on our airwaves. Matt Stebbins was let go probably January, I believe, early January, and then you had Reagan Atkins, a very talented young lady, tear her ACL probably about a week or two before the end of the regular season. And they had 2 girls in concussion protocol. One of the girls came back and played Friday night. I believe that was Jonna Hill. So they're somewhat getting healthy in terms of the concussion stuff. There was still the one girl that was out, but well, it's really rough when you lose your head coach, the one that gives you the guidance and coaches you up in practice and games and things like that. And then you lose probably your quarterback on the court in terms of Reagan Atkins and her torn ACL. It's just when things go bad, they go worse, and they really did for Laurel. But kudos to them for staying the course, getting to the postseason, winning a playoff game, and they're right in the mix. They're playing North Catholic. That's a school they're familiar with. They're league rivals, and granted they got blown out both games, but hey, who knows? Take your shot.
Well, Laurel's in good hands with my dear friend Jimmy Marcantino stepping in as the head coach. They certainly are. And you know how I feel about the Catholic and private schools. They're Pittsburgh AAU teams. They're all-star teams. North Catholic from the North Hills of Pittsburgh, playing Laurel, a team that generates its players from probably a 5 square mile radius. It is what it is. Laurel will show up. They'll play them tough. Probably going to be overmatched, but, when you have an all-star team playing a little high school team, that's the way it goes sometime. But they're in good hands with my dear friend Jimmy Marcantino. He's a great coach, a great human being. He knows the game inside and out. So, Laurel will show up. They're going to show up just in case North Catholic thinks they're not coming. They'll be there.
Mm-hmm. Sure. All right, Larry, that's our athletes of the week. The 2 wrestlers, Colin Bartley and Grant MacKay, for print purposes, and 2 girls that really excelled in terms of basketball, Danielle Pontius and Erin Capalbo. Pontius for Laurel, Capalbo at Mohawk. We've got more fun to take care of here on Tip-Off, and Larry Kelly will do that next.
There's one thing I learned growing up around here. People should look out for each other. Be friends and neighbors that you can count on. So it bothers me when people who are hurt in automobile accidents get bullied by the insurance company. I don't let bullies run over my clients. I do what I was taught growing up. Step up, stand up, and speak up for those who can't. I'm Larry Kelly, and I'm a Newcastle guy.
Okay, we're back with you here to close up shop here on Tip-Off, and it'll be our random topic. Last time we joined you, probably a week or so before the end of the regular season, Larry sniffed it out pretty well, the over-under possibly on how many teams we could get in the WPIAL championship. We're still a week plus away from that desired date. However, being that I am a media member and Larry is half of a media member, all right, we're still gonna play that over-under game. We're gonna say over-under 4.5, because there's that there are 5 teams that are awfully capable of getting there. So Larry, are you still liking the over on 4.5?
Well, I think I am. I do. I think I am. I mean, when we look at these teams, right, we're looking at from the boys bracket, Newcastle, Elwood City, right?
Mm-hmm.
From the girls bracket, we're looking at Neshannock and who am I missing, Ronnie?
You're missing a pair of Union squads.
Oh, yeah, boys and girls. Right. No,
You're
man.
missing out
Listen,
on Union.
no, Union, we scrimmaged Union on Thursday. No, Friday. We scrimmaged Union Thursday or Friday. I can't remember, of last week.
Friday.
Friday. And let me tell you what, they handled us pretty good. And when you can come into the Newcastle Fieldhouse and you can give the Red Hurricane everything they want, you're a good basketball team. And that is a very good basketball team. So I like Union, and the Union women, the Scotties, wow, are they playing good? They're playing really good. So if you add those schools up, right, that's 5 teams. I think it can happen. I really, really do think it can happen. And I think the sleeper in that group is probably the Union women.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably the sleeper in that group.
Yeah.
But man, they good. And Coach Nogue does a great job with that team. And as I said, I saw the Union Scotties up close in our scrimmage against Newcastle, and they handled us pretty well. So in Elwood, they were the number 1 seed. Neshannock, they were the number 2 seed, I think, which it amazes me. But and the Red Hurricane, we were the number 2 seed. I like the over, my brother. I do. That could be a heck of a weekend at the Peterson Event Center to watch all of those Lawrence County teams play.
You touched on seeds with Neshannock girls a 2 seed, Union boys being a 3 seed. Mark Stanley was not particularly thrilled that they got a 3 seed. What kind of stock do you take in seeds? Obviously, it's a placement. It's who are you getting this round, and who could you see immediately, based as opposed to who's on the other side. That's where seeds come into play. But does it really matter? Seeding?
Well, I think it matters early because you get to play home games, and that's a big advantage in basketball. But once you get to the semifinals, so Union will have 2 home games, and then they get to the semifinals, and if the seeds hold true, they'll play the 2 seed on a neutral court. And so I don't think it's a big deal. Whether you're a 2 or a 3, you 2 are going to square up if everything holds true. I think it's a big deal early on because you get to play at home, and that's a big advantage in a basketball game, especially in a high school basketball game. So other than that, once you get past those first 2 rounds, so if you're a seed 1, 2, 3, or 4, I don't think it makes much of a difference. You got to beat them all.
Yeah.
And you're going to be playing the semifinals and finals are on neutral courts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it kind of surprised me too that the Union boys were a 3. Like Mark Stanley said, quote, we didn't play slouches at all this year, end quote. They played down at Elwood, on Elwood's home floor. They played down at Beaver Falls on Beaver Falls' home floor, and
right.
They won both of those games. And
yep, Neshannock, they played Neshannock.
Yeah.
Did they not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, so they didn't play cupcakes.
No. So they came to play. They played Kennedy Catholic. Now they won those 3 games that I mentioned: Beaver Falls, Elwood, and Neshannock. They won those 3. They played Kennedy Catholic in one of those showcase games on a Saturday. They lost that one, but it was ultra competitive, maybe 6 or 8 points. And I remember Mark Stanley telling me, we needed a game like this. We needed to see where we're at. And that was probably mid-January or something like that. So it was kind of surprising that they got a 3. Imani Christian, I believe it was, got a 2. And Newcastle knows all about Imani Christian. I believe you guys played them down at over at Geneva.
Right.
And they're loaded with size. They have a 6'11" kid, I believe, some 6'6", 6'8". I don't know how that's going to match up with Union. I don't think Imani really used that size to their advantage against Newcastle the way they could have. Certainly Newcastle's quickness will probably neutralize it, but I'm not sure how that'll work against Union, but time will tell. Union's got to win one game to face Amani, and Amani's got to win one game to meet Union. That would be, I think,
it's going to be a great game. And listen, Union is well coached. I mean, they're really well coached, and their guards are like ours. They're quick as cats. And if you speed up a bigger team, you speed them up and you don't let them walk it down and get into their sets, you kind of neutralize that size advantage. The key will be you have to rebound your own end. You can't give them second and third shots. You got to rebound your own end, and I think Union will. Like I said, they did well against us. They held their own against us. They did everything that they needed to do against the Newcastle Red Hurricane. And if you can hold your own against us, you can hold your own against anybody.
Okay. All right. That's what we have coming up for you. We had, I believe it was 12 playoff teams is what we had. Maybe 13. Can't really recall how many, because we had Wilmington girls just got in this past Sunday. So possibly 12 teams out of our total of 16 made the playoffs. We've only lost 2 so far. The Laurel boys got beat last night 68-28. And as I mentioned in another segment tonight, the Shenango boys were eliminated 61-54. So we still have an awful lot of basketball teams playing. And lastly, Larry, let's talk about Shenango and Neshannock girls. They're playing head-to-head. This is a third matchup. I'm sure the last thing Luann Grabowski wanted to see was Shenango. Probably no offense to Shenango, but you remember they beat them 72-25 about 2 weeks ago.
It's hard to beat that team 3 times in a row. You know each other. You know each other's tendencies. And normally when that happens, it tightens up the game. It evens the teams. So the Wildcats are going to show up at Neshannock. They'll be there. And then, Ricky LaRocca and Coach Nattel, they'll have them ready. They'll have them ready. So it should be a great game.
Yeah, and I was talking to Ricky last night after the game, and I knew that they had lost both times to Neshannock, and I asked him. I said, Coach, that first game, I'm looking at it, and I think the score was 52-32, I believe, the first game. I said, wasn't that first game awfully close? Wasn't it about 5 or 6 points going to the fourth quarter? He said, yeah, 6-point game going to the fourth quarter. That's 2 possessions, Yeah. And a lot of people would just look at that score and say, oh, it's 2 blowouts. You might say it was 2 blowouts, but if that Shenango team that played that 52-32 game shows up like that, and you have a 6-point game going the fourth quarter, look out.
Oh yeah, no question. No, there's no question about that, and it's a rivalry.
Yep,
it is a rivalry. I know that. So both teams will be ready to play. Neshannock's playing at home. They're going to be a favorite, and they're a great basketball team, and they're well coached, and they're looking to win another WPIAL title, and but they have to get through the Wildcats to do that. And again, you don't like to play teams 3 times. It's just the games tend to get closer normally with every game because of the familiarity between the 2 teams.
Sure. All right, Larry. Sounds good. Playoff basketball, that's where we're at right now.
Survive and advance, my friend. Survive and advance.
Who would have ever known that Larry was good friends with Jim Valvano?
I
do all the time.
That's a misstatement. Listen, I was a big fan of Jim Valvano, and as you know, he had his team practice cutting down the nets to create the vision of winning a championship. And I had my Shenango baseball team practicing the dog pile before our WPIAL championship game to envision what it would feel like if we got there. And by the grace of God, we got there.
Well, maybe I should add to my bank of questions for Ralph Blundo for Sunday night. Ralph, when are you going to start practicing cutting down the nets for the WPIAL championship? Larry Kelly would like to know.
I want to be there. Listen, I tell him that every year. I think we ought to do it. Create the vision, baby. If you believe you can, you will. And if you believe you can't, you won't. But the Hurricane, we always believe. We always believe, and that's why we've been so successful.
And somehow you're still on the staff to tell that story.
Somehow I'm still on the staff to tell that story. Right.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Larry, for
All
joining.
right, my friend. Always a pleasure.
It's been fun. He's Larry Kelly. I'm Ron Poniewasz. Enjoy the games, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy out there, and root on your teams to victory. We will see you back here hopefully next week for more fun on Tip-Off.
As a veteran, I fought for our ideals. That we are a nation of laws, that the laws apply to everyone, and that no one is above the law. So if you've been hurt in an auto accident, I don't think you should be pushed around by some insurance company. Not on my watch. I'll work hard to protect your rights. I'm not afraid to go to trial, and I've never run from a fight. I'm Chuck Garbett, and I'm proud to serve the people of Lawrence County.